I just came back from the dentist. I got 2 of my wisdom teeth pulled out, so excuse me if I'm talking a little funny. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the video. I wanted to answer some commonly asked questions for people who have Tourette's and tics. I do claim that I have Tourette's, but I just wanted to make it very clear that I haven't been diagnosed by an actual doctor. Whenever I looked up what Tourette's was, I identified with it so much that deep down inside, I just knew I had it. And also getting in contact with a neurologist or somebody who could diagnose me with Tourette's is very difficult, especially with the type of insurance that I have. But I am still working on it. I have a busy life with 2 little babies, so they take a lot of my attention, but I'm still working on it because I would like to get a proper diagnosis. Something that really confirmed it for me in my head was the fact that I saw my nephew ticking, and this was before he got diagnosed. That was around the time that I found out what Tourette's was. So I told my sister I feel like he have Tourette's. To make a long story short, he went to the doctor and he got diagnosed with Tourette's. And being that I recognized that in him and I do the same things, you know, it confirmed it for me big time that if me and him do the same things, and I have to have Tourette's as well. So I'm waiting to get to a doctor so that I can get properly diagnosed my tooth, so that I can, I'm waiting to go to a doctor, to a neurologist specifically, which is very difficult to get into, so that they could go ahead and diagnose me with Tourette's. But until then, I definitely have tics that are annoying. Let me let this truck pass by. Tic I do the most is this grunting noise with my throat and my winking tic. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and answer questions to the best of my ability. I'm not a doctor, shocker. So I'm just only answering based off of my experiences. So what effect does drinking alcohol have on my tics? I definitely can drink. Whenever I'm drinking, I'm more uninhibited. So a lot of the times they do slip through, and I find myself having a tic attack. And I didn't know that's what it was, but it was one time I could have really hurt myself. I kept spinning and spinning because that's one of the tics that I have. I even went on Reddit. I was like, how do I stop myself from ticking? Because I just felt like I had to keep spinning and spinning and spinning. And that was like the most frustrating thing. So whenever I'm drinking, it can trigger a tic attack more than whenever I'm just sober. Okay, what's the worst situation you've experienced because of your Tourette's? Okay, so when I was younger, I've always had this winking tic like that. And my mom had a hair salon that my sister also worked in. And it was one of their clients who was underneath the hair dryer. I was sitting in the chair, you know, just waiting because I didn't have nowhere else to go. So I had to wait while they did their client's hair. So I kept winking towards her, but I wasn't winking at her. It was a winking tic. I was winking like that, and you know, winking is a sign of being flirty. So next thing you know, I looked back at her. She was looking at me like, that was embarrassing. Let me just say this. If your kid is doing something out of the ordinary, don't pick on them. Don't think they're just being silly. Take them to the doctor, because if I would have done that, maybe I would have still been ticking, but I would have understood it, and then I could have explained to people I have a tick condition, tick disorder, nerve disorder, I have Tourette's, whatever, and it would maybe make people feel more comfortable around me. It may give people a better understanding of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and not just leaving their mind wondering like something is off with her. Okay, what was your experience of school life? School, I've said this in my other videos, I would kick the desk a lot, and especially whenever it got quiet. So I hated whenever we had exams or we had like something like reading time where we had to be quiet, because I had the tic, so I couldn't keep quiet. It was difficult to stay still. I had to do a lot of suppressing, which is physically exhausting. And it also made it difficult to focus on my teacher and what they had to say, because I was always like, okay, don't tick. Well, I didn't say don't tick because I didn't know it was a tick, but I'm telling myself, don't move, don't make this noise, don't, you know, just try to be as still as possible. So whenever you're focusing on trying not to tick, and that gets very that becomes a huge distraction, and it makes it difficult to focus on anything. I still made great grades nonetheless. The teacher would teach, and a lot of the times I would just go back and read over what they taught us. So that's how I became pretty good at researching, because I wouldn't really hear what the teacher was saying. I had to go look up the information by my own self. So yeah. And you have the kids who ignore it. God bless them. So sweet. And then you have the other kids who's like, so, which I don't blame them at all. It's, if you hear somebody making repetitive noises, repetitive movements, you're gonna wonder the same thing if you're not educated about Tourette's, and if you're not educated about tic disorders in general. What do I think the biggest misconception about Tourette's is? I can name a few. The fact that everybody with Tourette's cuss uncontrollably. And I think that's called coprolalia. Like I said, I'm not the best person to answer the technical things about the disorder, but I can give my experiences. Everybody with Tourette's does not cuss uncontrollably, and in fact that is rare in Tourette's. So I think people just think of it because it is very different, and usually whenever you see videos about people with Tourette's, that's what you see, the people who are cussing. So that's what comes to people's mind. Another misconception about Tourette's is that you will always know when somebody have it. It's not true, because I definitely tick throughout the day, all the time, and I'm great at disguising my tics and making them look like regular schmegular everyday movements or everyday noises. Like, for example, that instead of making the noise, I'll just go like, and then I'll go like that to make it seem like I'm trying to clear my throat. So you may be standing next to somebody who have Tourette's and not even know, because we're good at controlling it, we're good at hiding it. And yeah. Do I think my Tourette's is influenced by or affect my personality? I definitely think it affects my personality, and I think it affects it because I'm more understanding of things that may seem or may be deemed as odd, because Tourette's is a very, or tics are a very peculiar thing to describe to people. So it makes me more understanding of whenever somebody else may have another condition that others may not understand. Because I'm like, okay, well, I have something that is almost like impossible to describe unless you have it. So it definitely makes me have more empathy, even though I think I was born with a lot of empathy. How would I describe how my tics feel? My tics, I have a tic that I mentioned earlier that's like, it feels like you're grunting. You feel it I feel it in my throat. Now, let me describe how it feels before I tic. It just feel like a build up, like, okay, try to hold your eyes open for as long as you possibly can. Eventually you're going to blink, right? Or try not to swallow. Hold your swallow off for as long as you can. Eventually that swallow is going to come, right? That's what a tic feel like. Like it feels like, okay, it's going to come, it's going to come, it's going to come. And it comes. All right, next question. If you could turn off your motor tics or your vocal tics, but not both, which would you choose? Dang, that's a good question. That's a really, really good question because both are frustrating to deal with. So because I don't have too many vocal tics, I do make noises and I do repeat people who I think talk in a very exaggerated type tone. But I would turn off my physical tics. I would definitely get rid of my physical tics because I feel like it has made a lot of wear and tear on my body. Like the wear and tear on my body from going like that. My neck does ache, and I feel like my headaches a lot of them come from doing that. And my legs end up sore because I do have a tic where I kick or I move my leg in a certain type of funny way. I move my bottom leg like this kind of, and that does your body bad because it's like you're constantly doing it and it wears you out and it makes you grumpy, and then you kind of no good. So I would, yes, get rid of the physical tics. I would get rid of the physical tics, and even though I don't like the vocal tics either, they're not as bad as the physical tics. So that's all I'm going to answer today. I feel my wisdom tooth kind of tingling a little bit. Well, I feel the spot where my wisdom teeth were tingling. I'm just gonna go ahead and get some rest. I already took some pain medicine, so it should be good. It should be straight. But please like, comment, and subscribe, and leave an idea of what you would like to see next for one of my next videos. I love y'all.